Hello and welcome. Find a quiet place, perhaps dim the lights. Tonight, we are stepping off the well-trodden path. We are venturing into the deep, dark woods of our collective imagination. Places where the trees have roots not just in the soil, but in our deepest, most primal fears. There is something ancient and powerful about a forest. The silence, the dappled light, the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. For millennia, we have told stories about the woods. They are the homes of monsters and witches, the settings for fairy tales and cautionary fables. The forest is a place of transformation, where one can get lost and emerge changed, or not emerge at all. For most forests, these are just stories. But there are a few places on this planet where the stories feel different, where the folklore is backed by modern-day testimony, where the shadows seem a little too long, and the silence is a little too heavy. These are places that have earned a reputation. They are forests that seem to have absorbed the darkness of human tragedy, the strangeness of the unknown, and the terror of the unnatural. They are, for lack of a better word, cursed. Tonight, we will journey to three of the most infamous and paranormally active forests in the world. Each one is a unique epicenter of high strangeness, a place with its own distinct and terrifying specialty. First, we will travel to the base of Mount Fuji in Japan, to a dense and beautiful wood known as Aokigahara, the Sea of Trees. It's a place of profound silence and even more profound sorrow, a forest that has become tragically famous as a destination for those saying their final goodbye. Its horror is a quiet, human one, drenched in grief and haunted by the ghosts of unbearable sadness. Next, we will venture into the heart of Transylvania, to the Hoia forest in Romania. This is not a place of sadness, but of active, bewildering phenomena. Known as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania, it's a paranormal playground where visitors report UFO sightings, encounters with strange entities, inexplicable physical symptoms, and where the trees themselves grow in bizarre, twisted patterns, as if warped by an unseen force. Finally, we will return to the United States, to a sprawling 200-square-mile patch of swampland and forest in southeastern Massachusetts known as the Bridgewater Triangle. This is not a forest with one specialty. It's a place that has everything. It's a veritable vortex of the paranormal, infamous for cryptid sightings, UFO hotspots, ghostly apparitions, and a dark history of satanic rituals and unsolved crimes. We will explore the history, the legends, and the eyewitness accounts that have made these three forests so feared. We will ask the question, what makes a forest cursed? Is it the land itself? Is it a history of tragedy that leaves a psychic stain? Or are these simply places where the veil between our world and something else is terrifyingly thin? So take a deep breath. Stay on the path. We are about to enter the world's most haunted woods. Our first destination is a place of haunting, almost suffocating beauty. At the northwestern base of Japan's iconic Mount Fuji lies Aokigahara, a 14-square-mile forest born from a massive volcanic eruption in the year 864. The lava flow created a unique and treacherous landscape. The ground is a solid, uneven bed of volcanic rock, hard as iron, with tangled roots snaking over it like veins. The forest floor is covered in a thick carpet of moss, which, along with the incredible density of the trees, creates an environment of profound and eerie silence. It is this silence that many visitors report as the most unnerving feature of Aokigahara. The volcanic rock absorbs sound, muffling footsteps and voices, creating a feeling of total isolation, even when you are just yards from a path. The forest's formal name is Aokigahara, meaning the blue tree meadow, but the world knows it by a much darker name, the Suicide Forest. For decades, Aokigahara has held the tragic distinction of being one of the world's most used suicide locations. The reasons for this are complex and deeply rooted in Japanese culture and history. The forest's dark reputation began to solidify in the 1960s, largely thanks to a popular novel by the famous author Saicho Matsumoto called Korwa Jukai, or Tower of Waves. In the book, a heartbroken heroine retreats into Aokigahara to end her life. The novel romanticized the idea of the forest as a peaceful, beautiful place to die, and many believe it triggered the modern trend. Another, more grimly practical book, The Complete Manual of Suicide, published in 1993, described Aokigahara as the perfect place to die, and even provided details on which parts of the forest were least likely to be discovered. The book was a bestseller and was often found near the bodies of those who had taken their own lives within the woods. To walk into Aokigahara is to walk into a place saturated with human grief. The official trails are well marked, and near the entrances, you'll find signs posted by suicide prevention groups. They read, in Japanese, "Your life is a precious gift from your parents. Please think about your parents, siblings, and children. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk about your troubles." They provide a hotline number, a last plea to those who are about to step off the path. And it is when you step off the path that the true nature of the forest reveals itself. The woods are crisscrossed with hundreds of colored plastic ribbons and strings tied to trees. These are the lifelines left by those who enter the forest with uncertainty. The idea is to unspool the ribbon as you walk, so if you change your mind, you can find your way back out of the disorienting, labyrinthine woods. But too often, the ribbons lead to a tragic final destination. An abandoned tent, a pile of personal belongings, a final, heartbreaking note. Because of the treacherous terrain and the sheer density of the trees, compasses are notoriously unreliable in Aokigahara. The high concentration of magnetic iron in the volcanic rock can cause compass needles to spin erratically, making it incredibly easy to get lost. In the age of GPS, many find their phone signals die as soon as they step a few hundred feet into the woods. This combination of sound-dampening silence and navigational chaos creates a potent sense of disorientation and despair. You feel truly, utterly alone. Beyond the very real human tragedy, Aokigahara is steeped in paranormal lore. The forest is said to be haunted by yurei, the angry, vengeful ghosts of Japanese folklore. It is believed that those who die in a sudden, violent manner, or with deep feelings of anger, jealousy, or sorrow, do not pass on peacefully. Their spirits become trapped, bound to the place of their death. The yurei of Aokigahara are said to be the tormented souls of those who died by suicide, forever wandering the sea of trees. Visitors who venture off the paths have reported a plethora of paranormal experiences. A common report is the feeling of being watched, a palpable sense of malevolence in the air. Others claim to hear disembodied whispers, faint crying, or blood-curdling screams echoing through the silent woods, even when there is no one else around. Some have reported seeing fleeting, white, spectral figures moving between the trees at the edge of their vision. The legend says that the yurei are malicious, that they try to lure people deeper into the forest, to make them get lost and share their fate. The forest's haunted reputation may even predate the modern suicide epidemic. There are persistent, though historically unproven, legends of ubasut being practiced in Aokigahara during times of famine in the 19th century. Ubasut was the mythical practice of carrying an elderly or infirm relative into a remote place, like a mountain or forest, and leaving them there to die, to reduce the number of mouths to feed. While most historians consider this to be folklore rather than common practice, the story has attached itself to Aokigahara, adding another layer of dark energy to the land, the idea of the forest as a place of abandonment and sorrowful death. Every year, an annual search is conducted by police, volunteers, and journalists. They sweep through the forest, looking for the bodies of those who have been lost. It is a grim, solemn task. They navigate by the ribbons, the silent signposts of indecision and ultimate despair. Aokigahara's horror is not one of monsters or aliens. It is a deeply human horror. It is the palpable weight of thousands of individual tragedies, of immense psychological pain imprinted upon a landscape. It is a forest cursed not by a demon or a witch, but by the echoes of profound human suffering. It is a place that holds onto its ghosts, and its silence speaks volumes of the stories it has witnessed. From the quiet sorrow of Japan, we now fly halfway around the world to a forest with a very different kind of energy. We are going to Romania, to the region of Transylvania land already steeped in Gothic legend. But our destination is not Dracula's castle. It is a patch of woods on the outskirts of the modern city of Cluj-Napoca. It is called Hoia Baciu. If Aokigahara's horror is passive and psychological, Hoia Baciu's is active, aggressive, and utterly baffling. It is not known for ghosts of grief, but for a dizzying array of high strangeness that has earned it the nickname the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. This is a forest that seems to interact with its visitors, often with disturbing and physical results. The modern legend of Hoia Baciu begins not with folklore, but with a scientist. In the 1960s, a biologist named Alexandru Sift was conducting research in the forest. He began to notice strange phenomena that he couldn't explain. He would see bizarre, shadowy figures flitting between the trees. He saw strange, flying objects in the sky. He took photographs that, when developed, showed shapes and lights that were not visible to the naked eye. Sift meticulously documented these anomalies, but he died in 1993 without ever publishing his full findings, and his archives mysteriously disappeared. The event that truly put Hoia Baciu on the map occurred on August 18, 1968. A military technician named Emil Barnia was camping in the forest with his girlfriend and two friends. In the early afternoon, Barnia was suddenly called out of his tent by his friends, who were shouting that they saw something in the sky. He looked up and saw a large, silent, disc-shaped object gliding over the forest canopy. He grabbed his camera and managed to snap 4 photographs before the object accelerated at an incredible speed and vanished. Barnia's photos were published and became a sensation. They were analyzed by Romanian authorities and international experts. To this day, the 1968 Hoia Baciu photograph is considered one of the clearest, most credible UFO pictures ever taken. It has never been successfully debunked. This single event cemented the forest's reputation as a hotspot for UFO activity, a window area for something not of this world. But UFOs are just the beginning of the strangeness in Hoia Baciu. At the heart of the forest is its most iconic and enigmatic feature: a clearing. It's a nearly perfect circle in the woods where, for reasons no one can explain, nothing grows. Scientists have taken soil samples from the clearing and tested them extensively. The results show that there is nothing in the soil that should prevent plant growth. It is chemically identical to the soil just a few feet away, where the forest thrives. Yet, the circle remains barren, a dead zone in the heart of a living wood. Local legends say this clearing is the home of the paranormal activity, a kind of portal or landing pad. It is here that many of the most intense experiences are reported, and the range of those experiences is staggering. Visitors to Hoia Baciu report a consistent and bizarre set of physical and psychological effects. Many people feel a sudden, intense anxiety or a sense of being watched the moment they step into the woods. They report unexplained nausea, severe headaches, and a strange metallic taste in their mouths. Most disturbingly, people have emerged from the forest with unexplained rashes, burns, and deep scratches on their bodies, with no memory of how they got them. Electronic equipment is also known to malfunction. Cameras will stop working, phone batteries will drain in minutes, and GPS devices will fail completely. Then there are the auditory and visual phenomena. People report hearing disembodied voices, often speaking in what sounds like Romanian, even if the visitor doesn't understand the language. The sounds of female giggling or crying are commonly reported, echoing from the empty clearing. Strange, floating orbs of light of various colors are seen almost nightly, dancing between the trees and sometimes appearing to follow visitors. And then there are the trees themselves. Many of the trees in Hoia Baciu are inexplicably twisted and deformed. They grow in bizarre corkscrew patterns or bend at sharp, unnatural angles, often with all the trees in a specific area leaning in the same direction, as if pushed by some invisible, persistent force. Some trees even show signs of charring and burns, but only on the parts of the trunk facing the central clearing. Like Aokigahara, Hoia Baciu also has its foundational folklore. The forest is named after a local shepherd, or Baciu, who, according to legend, walked into the forest one day with his flock of 200 sheep and was never seen again. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the man, his sheep, or even their bones was ever found. They had simply vanished. This story, which predates the modern UFO era, suggests that the forest has been considered a place of disappearance and high strangeness for centuries. Hoia Baciu is a profoundly different kind of cursed forest. It is not a place of quiet contemplation and sorrow. It is a place of active, dynamic, and often physical engagement with the unknown. It feels less like a haunted graveyard and more like a malfunctioning laboratory or an open-air portal. The sheer variety of phenomena UFOs, ghostly voices, physical ailments, biological anomalies in the trees and soil defies any single, simple explanation. It is a place that challenges our understanding of physics, biology, and reality itself. The curse of Hoia Baciu is a curse of active, bewildering, and constant mystery. From the grief-soaked soil of Japan and the paranormal playground of Romania, we now travel to a place that combines the horrors of both and adds a few of its own for good measure. We are going to southeastern Massachusetts in the United States to a 200-square-mile area of forests, swamps, and small towns known as the Bridgewater Triangle. This isn't a single, defined forest, but a sprawling zone of high strangeness. The triangle is roughly defined by the towns of Abington, Rehoboth, and Freetown at its corners. And within this triangle lies a cesspool of nearly every type of paranormal phenomenon imaginable. If Aokigahara is a specialist in sorrow, and Hoia Baciu is a specialist in UFOs and energy fields, the Bridgewater Triangle is a specialist in everything. It is America's own Bermuda Triangle, but on land, and its dark heart is a vast, foreboding wetland called the Hockomock Swamp. The curse of the Bridgewater Triangle is said to be ancient, rooted in the bloody history of colonial America. The area was once the heartland of the Wampanoag Nation. In the 17th century, the conflict between the English colonists and the Native Americans erupted into the brutal King Philip's War. It was a war of immense violence and atrocities on both sides. According to local legend, in the aftermath of the war, the Wampanoag shamans placed a powerful curse on the land, a curse that has poisoned it to this day. The very name of the swamp at its center, Hockomock, is an Algonquin word meaning the place where spirits dwell. It was considered a sacred, but deeply feared, place long before the colonists ever arrived. This deep, historical wound seems to have festered, turning the triangle into a magnet for darkness. Let's try to catalog the sheer variety of phenomena reported here. First, we have the cryptids. The Bridgewater Triangle is a veritable zoo of strange creatures. The most famous is Bigfoot. There have been dozens of credible sightings of a large, hairy, bipedal creature in and around the Hockomock Swamp, dating back to the 1970s. People have reported seeing it, hearing its unearthly screams, and finding its massive footprints. But Bigfoot is not alone. There are also persistent reports of giant snakes, far larger than any native species, and thunderbirds, massive, pterodactyl-like flying creatures. In one famous incident, a police sergeant from the town of Norton reported seeing a bird with a wingspan of at least 8 to 12 feet. Next, we have UFOs. The Triangle has been a UFO hotspot for decades. One of the most significant events occurred in 1976, when multiple residents of the town of Freetown reported seeing a large triangular craft with bright lights hovering silently over the Freetown State Forest that lies within the Greater Triangle and has its own terrifying reputation. There have been countless other reports of strange lights, silent crafts, and even alleged alien abduction experiences. Then there are the ghosts. The Triangle is rife with classic ghost stories. The most famous is the Phantom Hitchhiker of Route 44, a man with red hair who is seen walking along the road, only to vanish when drivers stop to offer him a ride. The Freetown Fall River State Forest is said to be haunted by the spirits of murdered colonists and Native Americans, with people reporting sightings of spectral figures and hearing disembodied voices. But the Bridgewater Triangle has a layer of horror that is far more tangible and disturbing than ghosts or monsters. It has a documented history of human evil. In the late 1970s and 1980s, the Freetown State Forest became a known dumping ground for local satanic cults. Police discovered numerous sites of apparent ritualistic activity, including bizarre altars and evidence of animal sacrifice. The woods became a place of real, documented fear for local residents. This dark chapter escalated to involve suspected human sacrifices and was linked to several local murder cases, blurring the line between paranormal terror and true crime horror. This ties into another bizarre feature of the Triangle: unexplained animal mutilations. For decades, local farmers and police have been baffled by cases of livestock cows, goats, and sheep being found dead under mysterious circumstances. The animals are often found with surgical precision cuts, with organs removed, and completely drained of blood. These mutilations are a global phenomenon, often linked to either UFOs or cult activity, and the Bridgewater Triangle has had more than its share of cases. The Triangle is dotted with specific landmarks of high strangeness. There's Anawan Rock, a site of a historic Native American battle, where spectral war cries are still said to be heard. There's Dighton Rock, a 40-ton boulder covered in mysterious petroglyphs whose origin and meaning are still debated by scholars. And until it collapsed in 2019, there was Profile Rock, a 50-foot granite outcropping that, from the side, looked exactly like the profile of a Native American chief believed to be the Wampanoag leader Massasoit. It was considered a sacred site, and its collapse was seen by some as a dark omen. The Bridgewater Triangle is a perfect storm of the paranormal. It's a place where historical trauma, Native American curses, cryptid sightings, UFO flybys, ghostly encounters, and documented human evil all converge. Its curse is not singular. It is cumulative. It's as if every kind of fear and darkness has been drawn to this one patch of land, making it arguably the most paranormally dense and varied cursed location in the world. We have walked through three of the most infamous forests on Earth. Aokigahara, a sea of sorrow haunted by human tragedy. Hoia Baciu, a paranormal vortex buzzing with unexplained energy and alien contact. And the Bridgewater Triangle, a cursed land where every kind of monster, ghost, and human evil seems to have found a home. Each is unique, yet they share a common thread of being places where the normal rules of the world seem to break down. This leaves us with the ultimate question: what makes a place like this cursed? What are the theories that attempt to explain these paranormal epicenters? The first and most skeptical theory is purely psychological and sociological. This is the legend-tripping or meme theory. It suggests that there is nothing inherently strange about these places at all. Instead, a story or a reputation takes hold. A novel about suicide, a UFO photograph, a tale of an ancient curse. This story then acts like a virus or a meme. People visit the location with a powerful set of expectations. Their brains, primed to find something strange, engage in confirmation bias. Every snap of a twig becomes a footstep. Every strange shadow becomes a creature. They interpret ambiguous stimuli through the lens of the legend. In this view, cursed forests are not paranormal locations. They are powerful psychological canvases onto which we project our collective fears. Our second theory ventures into the geological. This theory suggests that there might be something physically unique about the land itself that causes these phenomena. In Aokigahara, we already know about the magnetic iron in the volcanic rock that disrupts compasses. Could these magnetic anomalies also have a subtle effect on the human brain, inducing feelings of disorientation, depression, or even hallucinations? Some researchers have proposed that areas with high paranormal activity, known as window areas or vortices, might have unique geological features, high concentrations of quartz, underground water systems, or unusual gravitational or magnetic fields that can warp spacetime or make it easier for paranormal energy to manifest. This would explain the equipment malfunctions and physical symptoms reported in Hoyabachu. The third theory is what's known as the stone tape theory. This is the idea that strong human emotions, particularly those associated with trauma, tragedy, and violence, can be recorded or imprinted onto the physical environment, especially rock and water. Later, sensitive individuals can play back this recording, experiencing it as a ghostly apparition, a disembodied voice, or a powerful feeling of dread. This theory fits Aokigahara and the Bridgewater Triangle perfectly. The immense grief of Aokigahara and the brutal violence of King Philip's War could have left a permanent psychic stain on the land, an emotional echo that continues to reverberate through time. Finally, we have the most speculative but all-encompassing theory, the weak spot or interdimensional hypothesis. This is the idea that our reality is not the only one. Perhaps there are parallel dimensions or other realities existing alongside our own. And in certain places, like Hoyabachu or the Bridgewater Triangle, the veil between these worlds is exceptionally thin. These weak spots act as portals or windows, allowing creatures, energies, and phenomena from another reality to bleed through into ours. This would be a grand, unified theory of the paranormal, explaining everything from Bigfoot and UFOs to ghosts and floating orbs of light. They are all just different visitors or phenomena slipping through the cracks from somewhere else. Perhaps the truth is not one single theory, but a combination of them all. Perhaps a place with unique geology, like Hoyabachu, becomes a natural window area. Perhaps a place with a history of profound human tragedy, like Aokigahara, becomes psychically imprinted with that sorrow. And perhaps a place like the Bridgewater Triangle has an Allah historical curse, unique geology, and a powerful legend that all feed into each other, creating a self-sustaining vortex of high strangeness. What is certain is that these forests represent more than just trees and soil. They are landmarks in the geography of fear, places that challenge our sense of safety and our understanding of the world. They remind us that there are still mysteries out there, deep in the woods, that science cannot yet explain. And now, I want to turn the question over to you. What do you think is at the heart of these cursed forests? Are you a skeptic who believes it's all in our heads? Do you think geological anomalies or the stone tape theory hold the answer? Or do you believe these could be genuine weak spots in the fabric of reality? Which of these three forests do you find the most terrifying, and why? The human sorrow of Aokigahara, the alien strangeness of Hoyabachu, or the all-encompassing horror of the Bridgewater Triangle? Let me know your thoughts and share any stories of your own local haunted places. in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this journey into the world's most cursed places, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support is what makes it possible for us to continue exploring these dark corners of the world. And be sure to click that notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into the unknown. Thank you for walking with me tonight. Until next time, be careful where you wander. Some forests never let you go.